clearkey provides basic content encryption with the lowest possible latency for media encryption and decryption. It works with both HLS and Dash, and it doesn't require a full DRM license server, which makes it the simplest encryption configuration in MKIO to set up. So as we covered in the previous video, it's not the right choice for content that genuinely needs studio-grade protection, but it's a solid option for basic protection scenarios. So testing your DRM workflow before adding the full multi-DRM complexity, and any case where you need encryption without the overhead of Widevine, PlayReady, and Fairplay certificates. We'll go through two configurations. First is open, so that's no token required, and token restricted, which is where you get actual access control on top of encryption. So we'll need two things before we start. You need a running streaming endpoint. Then we want to create a streaming locator with predefined clear streaming only, and confirm playback works in MKPlayer before you do anything else. Again, if it doesn't play clean at that stage, stop and fix the underlying problem first. Adding encryption on top makes debugging harder. This configuration encrypts the content, but it doesn't require a token for the player to get a license. Again, this is useful for testing or scenarios where you don't need full encryption or gate access per viewer. First, we want to navigate to content key policies in the MKIO portal. So I'll click content key policies in the left nav and select create content key policy. We will give it a name. In this case, I'm going to use clearkey open and select add next to the clearkey section. We'll enter a policy name, and under use token restriction, we'll set this to no. We'll select add and then create. The next step is to create a streaming locator. So first we want to navigate to our asset, select add streaming locator, again give it a name, set the streaming policy to predefined clearkey, and set the content key policy to clearkey open, which is the one we just created. Then select add. So then we'll select the locator and then choose our running streaming endpoint and select apply. MKO will then generate the HLS and Dash URLs. And in order to test these, we're going to go to MKPlayer, select HLS as the protocol and clearkey as the DRM, and then paste in this HLS playback URL. When we hit play, it should work without any token. So now is the version with access control. This is where the player has to provide a web token in order to authenticate the playback. MKIO must validate against this key before it can then issue the decryption key. If the token is missing or rejected, then the playback cannot complete. So the next step is to create a content key policy. So in order to do that, again, we're going to go back to the dashboard. We're going to click create content key policy. I'm going to name it, select add in the clearkey section, and then enter a policy option name. And this time under use token restriction, we're going to click yes. This will then expand the configuration fields. We're going to select the token type as JWT. The issuer can be a string that you choose. So it's typically your company or the service name. And then the audience is another string you choose. And this is typically an identifier for what the token grants access to. The primary verification key is a base 64 encoded string. So this is what MKIO uses to verify the web token against the signature. And you can generate one by encoding any passphrase. You should keep this value a secret and never place it in your client-side code. So we'll select add and then create. And the next step is to create a streaming locator. So to add a streaming locator on your asset, it's the same as before. We'll select the predefined clearkey policy, the clearkey token policy, select add, and then apply. The final step is to generate our web token and test. So to generate a test token, I'm going to use JWT.io. So in the payload section, I'm going to set ISS to our issuer and the AUD, the audience, to our audience value. And then check the base 64 encoded checkbox. The encoded token will then appear in the left-hand panel. If we go back to MKPlayer and we enter into our license request headers field, if we enter authorization and then our bearer token and select play, it should work. And as we can see, we have encrypted clearkey playback. So everything we just did through the UI is also available through the API. And that's clearkey. That's basic encryption. There's no need to manage your own license server. The next video will be on full multi-DRM setup. So that's Widevine, Fairplay, and PlayReady, which is the configuration you would use for production content that needs the full DRM suite of protection. You can find all of the guides and the information linked below via our documentation. Thanks for watching.